Chase and David, you briefly mentioned the Bronco Bus, but I want to go back to that. Because as a player, I would see it all the time driving in, and I'm like, man, I think I could go in there and get some food. Probably not the right look before a game. But what made you guys start the Bronco Bus?
So when we were just coming out of college, that was when we won the back-to-back Super Bowl championships, and we grew up loving this team, had been wanting that taste of victory for so long, and we finally had it. And I remember we came back after graduating, and we were at our favorite burger joint, the Cherry Cricket, and there was about 6 of us sitting at a table, and we said, hey, what would be fun is if we bought a van and we all went down to games together and kind of did our normal thing. And we started writing down names of the people we wanted to include, and we realized we were going to need a much bigger van. And so we started looking around at buses, and they weren't that easy to come by back then. You didn't have Google or anything yet, so it wasn't really easy to go look on Craigslist for any of these things. But we did. I was at lunch with my friend Jeter, and we were sitting there, and we had found one in Indiana. We were going to fly out to Indiana and drive this thing back. And I didn't think that was the right idea just because it was so far. I wasn't sure the bus was going to make it back. And Jeter said, I don't think we're going to find one here. So we kind of agreed to disagree and left the restaurant. We walk outside, and a bus rolled by down 17th Avenue. We were downtown Denver, and it said, want to buy a bus, and it had a phone number. And so we went out to this lot. Yeah, so we called the number. We go out to this lot, and they had, maybe 60 old school buses that were kind of all out of the school systems. And there was, they were all in like early 80s kind of buses. And then there was this one, and it was kind of like the scene in Christmas Vacation when you see the light over the Christmas tree, the Griswold's going to cut down. There was just like, it was like shining, and it was like a 1990. It was like the newest one on the lot. And so we paid the guy $2,500 for it. They painted it bright orange for us as a courtesy because they love what we were doing. And again, that goes back to that community piece, Ryan, where it's just like they heard what we were trying to do, and they almost gave it to us. They were excited that we were going to go do it. We had a big party and started out. We stenciled on Broncos Bus on the side and with some blues paint, and we've since had a couple more upgrades in the paint job and things like that. But it was really fun. And I remember the first game we went to, we were in the North lot, and we had all of our friends there, and it was like the birth of something great. Like you could feel it. Like it was like, oh yeah, we're going to be doing this for a while. And you fast forward, almost 20 years, and here we are, and most of us have kids, and now our kids are out there playing beanbags that we used to be playing, and we're cooking burgers for them instead of for just us. And it's been an evolution. It's been an honor and a privilege, and it's just been such a cool thing to rally around. And again, we all love this team so much, and we've been there in the hard times and in the great times. And there's been some highlights. I remember when we were playing the Ravens one year, and I'll let David speak on this a little too, but we basically had a bunch of purple feathers that we had splattered on the kind of the front of the bus as if we had driven over a giant raven on the way to the game. When we were playing the Steelers in the playoffs one year, we had a fake Jerome Bettis stuck on the front of the bus, so it's kind of like a bus meets bus type of competition.
Nice.
And over the years, we got more and more involved with the Broncos. They liked what we were doing. We were always raising money for charity and giving it to local charities. So whether it was for flood victims in Boulder when that happened, or if it was different what are now kind of Denver Bronco charities, we've kind of covered them all. But it's always local, and it's always heartfelt. We've done stuff for our troops and everything like that, and that's the fun part. We're rallying around, we're having fun, but we're doing something that's greater than ourselves, and that's what we love about it.
Love it. And David, what game do you remember? I mean, I bet those parties changed for you guys from when you were fresh out of college to them bringing the kids. We won't talk about those chapters, but what are some of the memorable tailgates you remember there on the Broncos bus, David?
Yeah, Ryan, I think that is safe to assume us in our early, mid, late 20s was some pretty wild times. So one of the games I remember is we all wore plumber mustaches, that terrible handlebar mustache, the Hulk Hogan or Sam Elliott and Tombstone mustaches. So I went to the Wizard's Chest, another Denver institution, and I got fake mustaches for everyone. Even the ladies were wearing these plumber stashes. We had
even the bus had a stash.
Yeah. a big orange mustache, the bus stash. So that was for one of those games. I was a huge Plummer fan. I used to go to all of the games, and it was kind of during the Flavor Flav time. I don't know if you remember his goofy reality shows, but I had a giant clock that had Plummer on it, and it was Plummer time, and everyone, Plummer time, Plummer time, Plummer time. I think another one of really cool games we had was I think it was a Giants game, but we had a full Thanksgiving dinner outside of the bus. We had all the tables and families got together. And that's another thing is as it's grown, it has turned from something to where it was, really fun and bonding in terms of guys. And now the bus has evolved so much to where it's now a family institution. And it's something we're going to hopefully pass down to our kids as they get older. So then, they can be included in the debauchery just like we were in our young 20s.